Great. Okay. So now, quickly, I'll take you through nouns. Okay, we'll start with nouns. Aditi Bilwal, switch on your mic, please. What are nouns, Beta?
Sir, nouns.
Yes.
Sir, nouns are the.
The.
Sir, I forgot it.
You forgot it. Okay, never mind. Saransh, what are nouns?
So nouns can be defined as place, can be defined as place, person,
Animal or a
animal,
thing.
thing.
Right. So basically, when we talk about nouns, nouns are nothing. You don't have to write this down. Okay. Nouns are, we are recording, we'll share the recording with you. Nouns are naming words. Naming words. Right. So names of things are nouns. Okay. So for example, when I say Saransh, Saransh is a kind of noun. Saransh is a type of a noun, right? We'll go on to the types later, right? If I say phone, phone is also a noun, right? If I say lake, lake is also a noun. If I say dog, dog is also a noun, right? If I say happiness is also a noun, yes. If I say sand, it's also a noun, right? And if I say flock, it's also a noun, right? So all these words are defining the names of something. For example, if I look at Saransh, it's a very specific name that his parents gave to this boy who's sitting in a blue jacket and a yellow t-shirt over here, Saransh Sharma, right? So a specific name given to Saransh. Phone, anything which is a phone, right? So lake, you have seen the lake, you have seen dogs, you have seen, you're feeling happy, so you are experiencing that happiness, right? Then you have sand, you have flock, right? So these are all nouns. Now we'll just categorize the nouns very quickly, right? There's something called proper nouns. So when I talk about proper nouns, children, proper nouns are specific names given to specific people or places or monuments or anything, right? So for example, if I say Saransh, Saransh is a proper noun, right? If I say New Delhi, right, it's a proper noun, yes. If I say Dull Lake, it's a proper noun, right? If I say the Ganges or the Ganga, it's a proper noun, right? So these are all specific names given to rivers, lakes, places, people, right? So they are all proper nouns. Now, there are some rules with proper nouns that we need to comprehend and remember. See, the first rule, this is something which you can, if you want, you can note down. Proper nouns, the first rule is always the first, please mute your mic, Samna Jilani and everybody. Always the first letter has to be capital in proper nouns, right? You see the examples I wrote? Everywhere the first letter is capital, S capital, N capital, this is a compound word, so D also capital, dull, right? Here lake, because the name of the lake, so it's coming there as the capital. Ganga, G capital, right? So always the first letter has to be capital. That's the most important thing about a proper noun, wherever it comes. So, you know, for example, if I say, I met whom? Virat Kohli. Right? Today the T20 World Cup also has started down under in Australia. Right? So right now the score is 72-4, Sri Lanka versus Namibia. Right? So I met Virat Kohli. So when I say I met Virat Kohli came at the end of the sentence, but still it's the first capital letter. Remember that. Okay? And if somebody says, I swim in the Ganga. Again, the first letter is capital. Just remember that. All right. Just a moment. Shruti ma'am is calling me, so I'll have to put myself on mute. Yeah, so wherever the proper noun is coming, we are having the first capital letter. Always remember this. Okay, this is one rule. Now, very interesting things you will notice with proper nouns is we seldom means not very often. Sometimes we seldom use the with proper nouns. With proper nouns. So first I'll show you where we do not use the. So for example, if I say Ishani is paying attention. Is paying attention. Okay. So when I say Ishani is paying attention, I said Ishani. I did not say the Ishani. Did I say the Ishani? I didn't. Right? Similarly, if I say I met Vivan. Right? I met Vivan. So I'm not saying I met the Vivan. You know, you might hear some people saying I met the Vivan, but that's wrong. Okay, so don't use the before them, before proper nouns. Okay. Now, the third thing which is important is where to use the with proper nouns. This is very, very important. Okay, so I'm going to give you some clues. The with proper nouns. Okay. So for example, you might have seen the names of certain countries take the, you know, for example, the United States of America, the United Kingdom. Yes, in fact, in class 6 we were talking about this as well, and you would see the Netherlands. Now, why are we using the over here? That's also very important. So I'll take an example. See, when you say the Netherlands, but you say Holland, you don't say the Holland. It's another name for the Netherlands, right? So what happens is you will see there is some kind of a sense of plurality, that is they are joining together to form a republic, a country, right? So the United States of America, 50 states coming together, forming the United States of America, the United Kingdom, right? So Scotland, England, Wales, Northern Ireland, the United Kingdom. The Netherlands, now this word, the Netherlands, actually means the low-lying lands, right? So that is what it means. So Holland, when we say, we are just saying Holland. We are not saying the Holland. Similarly, when I say India, I don't use the, right? But when I say the Republic of India, if you read the Constitution of India, it always says the Republic of India. Republic of India. That is how it's written in government documents, right? The Republic of India. So words with United, the Republic, etc. would take the where the countries' names are involved. Okay. Now there are certain cities also which take the. So the first thing that comes to my mind, the United Arab Emirates also is a country, right? Have you heard of this class 5? I would ask you. Have you heard of this place? Aditya, have you heard of this place? And can you
No,
pronounce?
sir.
No, sir. Okay. All right. Aprajita?
No, sir.
Okay. Can you read the name out, Aprajita?
Sir, Hague.
Yes, The Hague. Right. So The Hague. Right. So why am I using The Hague? It's a city. And where is the city located, Niyati?
Sir, in the Netherlands.
In the Netherlands, right? So when I talk about The Hague, actually, please switch off your mics. This is very ridiculous. No, whose mic is off? I'll remove that person now. That's the only thing I can do. You should not switch on your mics unless and until you are required to or I ask you to do so. Please maintain some decorum. Right, so The Hague. So when I talk about The Hague, it's a translation, right? If I translate this word in English, it means the hedge. Hedge. What's a hedge? You have seen hedges in your school, in the garden, the small bushes, which make a kind of a boundary, right? So the hedge. So The Hague, right? So we use for certain cities also, we use the. So some countries, The Hague specifically, right? Now, certain other places where we use the are some geographical features. For example, deserts. The Sahara Desert. Right? You can write desert, you may choose not to write. The Gobi Desert. Have you heard of the Gobi Desert? Class 6. Anyone has heard of the Gobi Desert?
Yes, sir.
Where
Yes,
is
sir.
it?
It's in Mongolia.
Mongolia. Yes, yes. The Gobi Desert. I used to be very amused by this name when I was a child, the Gobi Desert, right? So the Kalahari, the Atacama, right? So many of them, right? So these are all taking the, right? You have mountain ranges, which take the Himalayas.
The Andes.
Yes, please, Hardik, can you take over for the class from here? The Andes, right? The Aravallis are the oldest mountain ranges in the world, right? So these are all taking the, but there is an exception, not to this rule, but what happens is you will use the with the mountain ranges, but with peaks, you don't use the. With peaks, no the. So when I say Everest, I don't say the Everest. I say Mount Everest. Mount Everest. Okay. I would say Mount Kilimanjaro, Africa. right? Even if you go to Nainital, you don't say the China Peak, right? You say China Peak or China Peak, whatever you want to call it, Tiffin Top, right? So you don't say the Tiffin Top. But if you were to talk about the mountain ranges, we would say the Shivaliks, right? So that is something which is important for us. So mountain ranges would take the, but peaks would not take the. Is this clear to everyone? I hope it is, right? Now, I'll give you a minute maybe to assimilate this, and if you're noting it down. So, all right. Rivers I've already spoken about would take the, right? So the Ganga is a very cliched example. So let's move ahead of the Ganga, right? The Mahanadi, right? The Nile, and so on and so forth. Any river, even your the Gola, which is your local river, right? The Mississippi, the Missouri, the Yangtze can, right? So many rivers are there in the world, which will take the. Then canals, all the nehers. The biggest and the most popular canal that comes to my mind is the Suez, right? So if you care to open your geography atlases, you will see the Suez over there, right? And deserts we've already spoken about. Then, friends, groups of islands. Groups of islands. Okay, when we talk about groups of islands, if I say the West Indies, please remember West Indies is not a country, it's a group of islands, right? So there are many countries over there, Trinidad, Tobago, etc., etc., right? So the West Indies, right? But, and similarly, you can say the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, right? So the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. You would have noticed that when we talk about individual islands, we don't use the. Know the with individual islands. With individual islands. So for example, there's a famous island in Thailand, Phi Phi Island. James Bond movies used to be shot and all that. Phi Phi Island, right? So know the Wheeler Island. Wheeler Island, right? It's off the coast of Orissa. So know the, I think Andamans, if I'm not confused between the two, right? So Wheeler Island anywhere in India, in the Bay of Bengal, it is there, Wheeler Island, right? So know the with them, all right? So very, very important. Okay, yes. So I have two hands up. I have Saransh and Vivan. So I'll take Saransh first in the alphabetical order. Yes, Saransh.
Sir, Greenland is also island, so we will use the Greenland or we will only use
No,
Greenland.
no, only England. It's not a group of islands. No, Greenland only one island, single island. Yes, Vivan.
So will seas also used?
I'm coming to that. So let's not jump the gun, my dear. Okay. Yes, Niyati.
So why do we use the with the Philippines?
Yes, good question. Why do we say the Philippines and we don't say Philippines, right? So again, when I refer to the Philippines, I'm referring to a chain of islands over there. Okay, it's not one big island over there. All right. Now the same question might go and you might say, why don't we say the Indonesia? Right. So these are certain things, the way they have been named, there those conventions, they just follow. Right. I'll give you a detailed lecture on this sometime. Okay. So we have 10 minutes remaining. So anyways, this recording, after that I'll just record it and convert this, and then again we'll rejoin the meeting. Okay, great. So islands, yes. Then my dear friend Vivan was saying, sir, why don't you talk about seas and oceans? Seas and oceans. Right. So the Pacific, right? The Red Sea, right? The Black Sea, the Arabian Sea, the Indian Ocean, right? So they will take the. Now, even Ukraine, it takes the, because it refers to again an area which broke away from Russia. Russia considered it an integral part of it. The war is still going on over there. The Ukraine is another country which takes the. All right. Now, names of certain books, holy books especially, right? So the Vedas, right? Holy books, we'll say. Holy books. The Vedas, epics. Okay, let's first do the holy books, the Bible, right? The Zend Avesta. This came in your GK Olympiad, if you remember. The Avesta, right? Holy book of the Parsis, right? And what else? The Quran, right? The Guru Granth Sahib, okay? Epics, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata. Please excuse me for my handwriting, okay? On the white screen, the Mahabharata. Then the Iliad, Greek epics, and the Odyssey. Right? So these are there. But remember, when you use their author's name, you will not use the. So you will say Valmiki's Ramayana. Valmiki's Ramayana. And you will say Homer's Iliad. Because Homer was the author of Iliad, right? And Valmiki was the author of Ramayana, right? So there you are not using any the with them. Just remember this. Okay? All right. They quiz you a lot on articles in that chapter. So if you're clear on this, it will help you over there. All right then. Next one. Just note one example. It's okay, children. All of you are mature enough to understand what we are talking about. Right? So that is great. Now, we also use the with things which are unique, one of their kind. There's only one, the sun of our solar system, the sun, yes, the sky, the moon, and you would notice that I'm not writing sun with a capital S, I'm not writing sky with a capital S, I'm not writing moon with a capital S, because we are not referring to proper nouns over here. We are just referring to nouns. They are being treated as common nouns right now. Okay, but I'm using the because they are one of their kind. And I can also say the sea, one of its kind. Yes, Niyati.
Sir, in the Earth, we only have one moon, but in other planets like Jupiter, Saturn, we have so many moons. So, sir, there also do we say the moon because
Yes, yes,
there the moon.
yes. We would say the, because if you are referring to the moon, acha, so you are saying the residents of Jupiter. What are they saying about their moon?
Sir, there
No. See, the thing is
are
that
no residents in Jupiter, but what would we call them?
no. What would we call them? We will not call them the moon, the sun. What instead we will take their names. We will say title, for example, right? So we will not say the moon, the sun over there, right? It's better to take their names to avoid confusion. All right. So that's
Yes,
something
sir.
which is important. Okay. Now a quick one with superlatives. In fact, I was talking about this also in class 6 the other day. What are superlatives? The maximum degree of something. So for example, when I say good, better, best, right? So best is the superlative degree, right? This is the comparative degree when you compare, and this is the first degree, right? So good, better, best. So when I talk about best, I would say the best. I will not use the with better. I will not use the with good, but I would use the with best, right? So for example, if I say Niyati is the best quizzer, right? So the best. Okay. Vivan is feeling a little envious. So I can say Niyati and Vivan are the best quizzers. Okay. So, all right. So the best, right? And the same can go for the worst. Right? Any kind of degree which is positive or negative can take the before it, right? Any kind of degree which is either negative, positive, but it's the superlative degree, right? Will take the. Similarly, with ordinals, what are ordinals? When I say the first, so he was the first person to land on the moon. To land on the moon. Who was the first person, by the way, to land on the moon?
Neil
So
Armstrong.
Neil Armstrong.
Yes.
Neil Armstrong.
Yes. Great.
Neil
Okay, now this meeting is going to end. Let it end whenever it ends, so you'll re-log in. Okay, so don't worry about that. Okay. We have more to cover on this. Okay. So that is there. And musical instruments. Musical instruments also take the musical instruments. Right? For example, Jayant sir plays the flute. Right? The flute. Right? The violin, the guitar. Right? So all the musical instruments would take the. All right, so we'll come back now. Let the meeting end. Very few people to attend, unfortunately. Not everybody from class 6 and 7 also has joined, 5 also. Enjoying the Sunday, it seems. All right. Jasraj is looking very handsome with his hair open and washed.